Patrick Mahomes, two-time MVP, two-time Super Bowl champ, the golden arm of the modern NFL, and the man with a highlight reel that could double as a Marvel trailer, steps up to a mic. He's asked about the next generation of quarterbacks. A standard softball. Easy to deflect, easy to dodge. But instead of pivoting to cliches or rattling off a list of generic up-and-comers, Mahomes drops a name that makes the entire room sit up straight. Shedeur Sanders?
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
He's the real deal. He's got everything you want in a quarterback. Everything. Let that marinate for a second. Not potential. Not upside. Not maybe in a few years. Mahomes went full stamp of approval. He basically turned to the rest of the league and said, "Y'all better start paying attention. This kid isn't coming, he's already here." And the NFL? The fans? The media? They collectively lost their minds. Because when Patrick Mahomes, gives that kind of praise, it's not just a compliment. It's a coronation. And with that one sentence, the entire narrative around Shedeur Sanders exploded. The skeptics? Fuming. The haters? Choking on their own takes. And the believers? Oh, they were thriving. They've been screaming about Shedeur for a while now, but Mahomes just turned their whispers into a thunderclap. Let's talk about what makes this moment so insane. This isn't a veteran hyping up a fellow Pro Bowler. This is the best quarterback of his generation anointing a rookie who hasn't even taken an NFL snap yet. That's not something you just say. That's a deliberate message. And it changes everything. Because now, every NFL front office is leaning in. Every defensive coordinator is revisiting his notes. Every fan with a QB problem is staring at their draft board, praying their team makes the right call. Because if Mahomes sees a future star in Shedeur, the rest of the league better hope they're not stuck playing against him. So who is Shedeur Sanders really? On paper, he's the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, a name that carries both weight and expectation. That's not easy to live with. Most legacy kids fold under that kind of spotlight. But Shedeur? He didn't just survive in the shadow of prime time. He built his own arena. This isn't just another kid with a famous last name. This is someone who shows up obsessed with greatness. Rain or shine. Win or loss. Cameras on or off. He practices like he's trailing by 6 with 40 seconds left every day. He studies film like he's solving a mystery. He throws with surgical precision and moves with the poise of a 10-year vet. And above all else, he leads. That's what Mahomes saw. He didn't just see talent. He saw intent. And that's what's setting the league on fire right now. Because Shedeur is more than flashy highlights and viral clips. He's methodical. He's mentally locked in. And he has something even more dangerous than raw skill. A chip on his shoulder the size of a stadium. Let's rewind for a second. Remember how people treated him early on? Dismissed him as just Deion's son? Questioned whether his stats were inflated by weak competition? Called him cocky because he dared to look like he believed in himself? Yeah. Those same people are awfully quiet now. And Mahomes just muted them completely. Now the conversation isn't about whether Shedeur has the tools to succeed. It's about when he'll be unleashed. And that when is creeping closer by the minute. Whispers from training camps. Electric. Word is, Shedeur's not just meeting expectations, he's breaking them apart and rebuilding them in his image. Players are watching him. Coaches are trusting him. And fans? They're already buying his jersey before he's even drafted. This isn't hype. It's momentum. And it's building fast. What's wild is how comfortable Shedeur seems in this chaos. Most young players would be overwhelmed by the Mahomes praise alone. But Shedeur? He heard it, nodded, and went right back to work. That's the difference. He's not caught up in the hype cycle. He's not treating this like a viral moment. He's treating it like a receipt. Because deep down, you get the sense that Shedeur always knew this moment was coming. He's been playing like it for years. Working like it for years. And now that the world is catching up, he's not surprised. He's ready. And the league? Well, they're starting to panic. Look around. Every franchise with QB uncertainty is now circling like sharks. Teams that missed out on Caleb Williams or Drake May are suddenly very interested in what Shedeur brings to the table. And it's not just about the skill set, it's about the mindset. He's not looking to just start. He's looking to take over. And let's be real, he might do it sooner than anyone expects. Because this isn't a guy who needs 2 years to develop. This is someone who could walk into a huddle right now and take command like he owns the field. The Mahomes effect just fast-tracked his timeline. And that's sending shockwaves through locker rooms. Think about it. There are quarterbacks who've been holding on to starting roles by a thread, and now there's a new name in the conversation. A name backed by the reigning king of quarterbacks. The pressure? Sky high. The competition? Stiff. The energy? Absolutely unhinged. And Shedeur? Focused. Already 10 moves ahead. This is the part where the narrative flips. No longer is Shedeur the prospect with potential. Now he's the threat on deck. The one coaches are already game planning for. The one GMs are reshuffling budgets for. The one fans are fantasizing about as the next face of their franchise. And yes, it's early. But when Patrick Mahomes speaks that kind of truth into the universe, it becomes real. Because Mahomes is the standard, the benchmark, the blueprint. So when he says someone has everything you want in a QB, that's not just a compliment. That's a challenge to the rest of the league. Keep up or get left behind. So what happens next? That's the part we're all dying to see. Will Shedeur be the #1 overall pick? Will a franchise like the Titans or Giants or Patriots build around him from day one? Will he get the full Mahomes-style rollout? Big contract, big expectations, and big-time pressure? And more importantly, will he deliver? If history is any clue, the answer is yes. Because Shedeur doesn't fold. He focuses. He doesn't tweet through it. He works through it. And when the lights are brightest, he shows up. And now, with Patrick Mahomes as the unofficial narrator of his rise, the spotlight just got even hotter. So here's the play, buckle up. Because the Shedeur-Sanders takeover? It's not a theory anymore. It's not potential. It's not promise. It's not future. It's now. And if you're not ready to see a new face of the NFL emerge in real time, you're in the wrong game. All right, you know what to do. Do you believe the Mahomes hype is the real deal? Or is the NFL moving way too fast on Shedeur-Sanders? Are we looking at the next icon? Or just a really good PR moment? Drop your hottest takes in the comments below. Make it bold. Make it messy. Let's get that debate fired up. And if you're loving the drama, the chaos, the rise of football's next generation, subscribe. Because Shedeur's story? Oh, it's just getting started, and you don't want to miss what happens when he finally steps onto that field. Let's go deeper into the seismic shift that happened the moment Patrick Mahomes name-dropped Shedeur-Sanders like he was already league royalty. Because once Mahomes speaks, it's not just a soundbite. It becomes gospel. And when he says, "This guy has everything you want in a quarterback," the NFL doesn't just hear it, they start rearranging their power rankings. This wasn't just flattery. It was a forecast. And whether people want to admit it or not, Mahomes just shifted the weather patterns of the entire quarterback market. Think about it. The league has its elite class. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, Hurts, the usual suspects. And for the most part, these guys feel untouchable. But that next tier? The mid-level starters? The "we think he can still be the guy" crew? Yeah. They should be sweating right now. Because Shedeur-Sanders isn't coming in to sit politely in the quarterback queue. He's walking straight into that second tier with first-tier mentality, looking to erase the buffer zone. Let's say it plain, some of these current starters are on borrowed time. You've got teams out here hoping their QB figures it out in year 4. Hoping they get just enough production to justify another extension. But then Mahomes drops the Shedeur bomb, and suddenly, every scout, coordinator, and GM is forced to rethink the plan. Why develop the guy we have when we could just go get that one? That's the Shedeur effect. And it's not just because of potential. It's because of the intention behind his game. See, Shedeur doesn't carry himself like someone who hopes things go well. He carries himself like someone who expects to be great and has done everything necessary to back that up. He isn't just talented. He's prepared. That's the difference. Plenty of guys can throw 60-yard bombs on pro day with no defenders in sight. But Shedeur? He does it under pressure. With a collapsing pocket. On the move. With defenders in his face and expectations on his back. And he still delivers with surgical precision. That's what Mahomes saw. Mahomes isn't impressed by raw arm strength. He's seen that. He has that. What Mahomes noticed and called out publicly is Shedeur's composure. His vision. His ability to read, react, and execute like he's been doing this for 10 years. That's not normal. That's generational. But here's the twist that's making NFL veterans squirm. Shedeur brings all this without the politics. No long-term deal to protect him. No guaranteed vet minimum contract. No old guard loyalty from the front office. He's walking into the league with no baggage and all the leverage. He's the blank slate with the blueprint already installed. And while other quarterbacks are trying to protect their seat, Shedeur is walking straight up to the table like he reserved it months ago. Let's talk culture for a second, because this is about more than just football. Shedeur Sanders is a walking contradiction in the best way. He's flashy, but disciplined. Confident, but grounded. A student of the game who still oozes style. And for a league that's still clinging to old-school quarterback ideals, that's a problem. Because Shedeur isn't playing by their rules. He shows up to interviews in designer gear and knows his stats better than the reporter asking the questions. He'll give you a soundbite, then break down coverage schemes like a coach. He's comfortable talking nil deals, branding, locker room dynamics, and defensive adjustments, all in the same breath. He's not just a quarterback. He's a CEO in pads. And that scares people. Especially the ones used to quarterbacks being robots who just do their job and keep their heads down. But Shedeur? He's the job. He knows the business, the spotlight, the expectation, and he's been playing under it since high school. Not because he wanted fame, but because it was inevitable. When you're Deion Sanders' son, you don't get to just come up quietly. But somehow, Shedeur still made a name for himself on his own terms. He didn't coast. He didn't ask for handouts. He transferred schools, rebuilt offenses, threw record-breaking games, and led with maturity most rookies can't fake. And Mahomes, being the hyper-aware football mind he is, picked up on all of that. He wasn't just watching highlight reels. He was watching habits. The way Shedeur handles pressure. How he moves defenders with his eyes. How he communicates with his O-line. How he adjusts protections and scans secondaries like a seasoned veteran. This is a guy who hasn't even played a down in the NFL and already plays like he owns Sunday. And the NFL? It's not built to wait for guys like this. It either adjusts to them or gets steamrolled by them. So what do you think happens when a quarterback like that gets drafted by a team desperate for a franchise face? You think they're going to sit him behind some recycled starter hoping for a miracle? No chance. Not when Mahomes is out here blessing him with the QB equivalent of a royal scepter. Not when the fans are already building graphics of him in their team's colors. Not when the media's circling like hawks, ready to declare the era of Shedeur the moment he drops a 300-yard, 3-touchdown rookie debut. The Mahomes comment wasn't a compliment. It was a countdown. And now, every snap Shedeur takes in practice, every preseason moment, every small sign of progression, it's going viral. Because people aren't watching to see if he's good. They're watching to witness it. To be able to say, I saw it first. To grab their friends and scream, that's him. The NFL loves a Cinderella story, but what they love even more? A revolution. And Shedeur? He's not just the future of quarterbacking. He might be the future of what leadership looks like in the league. No drama. No scandals. No off-field antics. Just an unapologetically confident, sharply intelligent, perfectly prepared assassin in cleats who just got a glowing review from the league's top dog. So what's next? That's the fun part. Maybe he lands with a rebuilding team and pulls a rookie-year turnaround like Andrew Luck or Justin Herbert. Maybe he sits for 3 games behind a placeholder starter and then comes in and never looks back. Maybe he throws a game winner in overtime and walks off the field like he just closed a business deal. No matter what the specifics look like, the energy is already there. We've all seen talented rookies before. But Shedeur? He feels inevitable. He feels like the moment you realize the old era is done and the new one just walked in without knocking. Shedeur Sanders isn't just making noise. He's disrupting the entire quarterback pipeline. See, every year the NFL gets its next big thing. The prototype. The kid with the arm talent, the combined numbers, the football IQ, and the ESPN-ready backstory. Teams drool. Analysts hype. Fans pray. And 9 times out of 10, reality hits like a linebacker. But Shedeur? This is different. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't show up to the conversation. He walked in, sat down at the head of the table, and reorganized the seating chart. And when Patrick Mahomes co-signed that, the league knew it wasn't optional anymore. You either start preparing for the Shedeur Sanders takeover, or you get left in the dust. Let's talk about timing for a second. Shedeur is hitting this moment perfectly. The league is in a transitional phase. The old guard QBs, the Bradys, the Rodgers, the Brees types, are either gone or running on fumes. The new wave? They're flashy, polarizing, and absolutely terrifying when they hit their stride. But guess what? Most of them had a learning curve. Growing pains. That awkward first year where the promise was there, but the execution was wobbly. Totally normal. Totally expected. Shedeur, though? He's coming in like he's already done the homework. Like the moment the playbook hits his hands, he'll not only run the system, he'll optimize it. But because he's not guessing. He's studied this game like a scientist. He's not relying on physical gifts alone. He's leaning on hours, thousands of hours, of film, drills, and reps so detailed you'd think he was preparing for NASA flight simulations, not football games. And that level of intentionality? That's rare. That's the kind of stuff that turns potential into power. That turns hype into headlines. That turns a Mahomes compliment into a warning to the rest of the NFL. Let's be honest with each other here. The league wants someone like Shedeur. A player who brings edge without ego. Swagger without sloppiness. A player who knows the value of a headline, but also knows when to shut out the noise and do the work. He's giving you the confidence of Cam Newton, the mechanics of Justin Herbert, the coolness of Joe Burrow, the work ethic of Jalen Hurts, and he hasn't even been drafted yet. And he's only getting better. Let's talk leadership. Because what makes Mahomes a once-in-a-generation player isn't just his arm. It's his ability to lead grown men into battle and make them believe. He doesn't just call plays. He commands respect. The locker room moves with him. And from what we're hearing, Shedeur's got that same effect. He's already got the aura. The presence. That thing where a huddle calms down when he steps in. Where veterans actually listen when he talks. Where a room full of alpha athletes starts to move in sync just by watching how he moves. That's not coachable. That's born, then built. And while some of his peers are posting highlight reels from private workouts, Shedeur is mastering every subtle detail of the position. Not just make the throw. Not just extend the play. But manipulate the defense, understand the blitz packages, break down film, communicate with the OC, set protections, know the defensive coordinator's tendencies before the snap, read the leverage of a corner on a 3rd and long. You can't fake that. You either live and breathe it, or you get left behind. And guess what? Shedeur? He's living it. The scary part? He hasn't peaked yet. He's still refining. Still evolving. Still sharpening the blade. And you know what that means? Whatever version of Shedeur we get on day one, it's going to be the worst version we'll ever see. And that's a nightmare for every defense that has to line up across from him. Let's get into something the suits upstairs are already thinking about, the brand factor. Because Shedeur isn't just a future face of a franchise. He's a future face of the league. He's marketable, camera-ready, speaks with poise, has a built-in following, carries a last name that rings out like an 808 in a locker room. And unlike some players who drown in early fame, Shedeur's been living under a spotlight since he was a kid. This isn't new to him. It's just louder now. And he's not blinking. He's not just surviving the attention. He's weaponizing it. Turn on the TV. Open your phone. Scroll through Twitter, TikTok, or YouTube. He's everywhere. And not in the look at my lifestyle way. In the watch me work way. He posts practice tape like it's a film school. He responds to critics with performance, not petty. It's all part of the bigger picture. The Shedeur Sanders brand isn't an accident. It's an extension of the grind. The crazy part? We're not watching him become great. We're watching him step into it. He's been walking toward this moment for years, and now? He's not hesitating. And that's what's making the doubters spiral right now. They can't explain it away anymore. Can't dismiss it as nepotism. Can't lean on the "we'll see how he handles pressure" narrative. Because he's handled more pressure before turning 22 than most NFL starters have faced in their careers. He's been tested, scrutinized, doubted, and every single time, he elevated. Now he's knocking on the NFL's door, and Mahomes just announced over the loudspeaker, "Let him in. He's one of us." So what does it look like when Shedeur finally gets that jersey? When he steps onto an NFL field for real? It's going to be electric, unpredictable, emotional, and probably historic. Because the second he completes that first deep ball, or shakes off a sack and hits a sideline dart on 3rd and 15, the internet's going to erupt. Fans will lose their minds. Commentators will scramble to rewrite their takes. And the NFL? They'll realize they're not witnessing a rookie moment. They're witnessing a takeover. All right, your turn. Are you riding the Shedeur Sanders train now? Do you think Mahomes was just showing love? Or did he see the future and decide to say it out loud? Is Shedeur the next great quarterback? Or the league's most dangerous hype bomb? Drop your thoughts. Throw your predictions in the comments. Rank him. Compare him. Build your dream matchup. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? This isn't a player story. It's a movement. And you don't want to be the person pretending you knew it all along when Shedeur breaks records on his rookie year. Stay tuned. Stay loud. Stay locked in. Because the NFL's next chapter has already been written, and Shedeur Sanders is holding the pen.